There's a spot behind your ear that functions as a healing seal. When touched with intention, it triggers your body's regeneration state. This isn't metaphor. This is direct access to your nervous system's reset mechanism. 2 fingers, proper placement, aligned awareness. That's all it takes to shift from survival mode into restoration. The body isn't a machine. Modern medicine treats it as broken parts requiring repair, but ancient traditions recognized something deeper. The body is a temple, a living interface between visible and invisible dimensions. Every point on your skin carries vibrational significance. The monks who spent years inhabiting every inch of their physical form understood this. Shamans touched specific points to activate visions and release trapped memories. Yogis developed such refined control they could modulate their entire frequency with a single finger, one breath, one focused thought. These weren't superstitions. They were observed wisdom passed through generations. The body functions as an energetic map. Where conventional medicine sees cartilage and bone, ancient practitioners recognized vortexes, currents, and energy nodes that open through awareness. Certain regions operate as bioenergetic portals, transition zones between physical and subtle realms. One such zone sits near your ear, between skin and bone. The right touch creates vibration that doesn't stop at the surface. It resonates deeper, opening pathways most never access. Records attributed to Thoth reference this as the art of silent invocation. A gesture, a breath, and the bridge between worlds opens. This technique was taught only to initiates because it required more than physical skill. It demanded aligned awareness, pure intention, internal mastery. The gesture alone meant nothing. The energy behind the gesture created the phenomenon. If the body is a temple, forcing it makes no sense. Punishing it, ignoring it, treating it as object destroys its nature. Listen to it. Touch it with respect. Inhabit it with presence. Healing doesn't start when you interfere. Healing starts when you recognize the body knows the way. It just needs reminding. That reminder doesn't happen in the mind. It happens in vibration. Like tuning an instrument. The untuned body vibrates tension, exhaustion, anxiety. When precise touch meets the right point, frequency changes. The body remembers its original melody. From that memory, the process begins. 2 fingers touching an almost forgotten area, caressing the space between physical and subtle. This gesture doesn't provoke. It invites. Done with presence, it activates immediate response. The whole body answers with inner silence, a pause you don't hear with ears. This switches off survival mode, quiets urgency, breaks tension cycles effortlessly. Indigenous elders performed this touch as blessing, as returning to center, as reconnecting with origin. Eastern traditions used it during energetic transitions, a vibrational reminder to release control and trust flow. Ancient Egyptian purification rituals incorporated this touch for body alignment and spirit elevation. Always in silence. Silence was more than sound's absence. Silence was creation's frequency. Thoth taught that every word is born from silence. The most powerful sound isn't shouted but vibrates where external noise cannot reach. This gesture is a silent word spoken through skin, acting directly on the nervous system's invisible language. That language doesn't understand hurry or force. It understands intention, gentleness, presence. When you touch with that vibration, you send a direct message to your inner field. Now you can rest. Now you are safe. In that safety, the body begins reorganizing itself. Many people resort to this gesture intuitively during pain, fear, or exhaustion. The body brings the hand to the head side, rests it behind the ear, places fingers there seeking refuge. This isn't coincidence. It's cellular memory. The body trying to find its way back to center. That path begins right there, in that gesture, when you silence external noise with internal touch. If you're discovering hidden dimensions of healing that actually work and want more practices like this, please subscribe. We're uncovering techniques that transform how you relate to your own body, and your support helps us continue this work. Now let's go deeper into what's actually happening. That gentle pressure behind your ear penetrates beyond skin, reverberates deeper than you imagine. Right there sits one of modern wisdom's most neglected points, yet one ancient tradition's most revered. This subtle point connects to the vagus nerve, a sacred electric network running through brain, heart, lungs, intestines, and subtle regions science barely understands. This nerve decides whether your body lives in war or healing, tension or regeneration. It determines fight or trust thousands of times daily without your awareness. If the body stays in constant alert, the system never switches off. Exhaustion becomes chronic, sleep never deepens, digestion unbalances, the mind loops endlessly. This starts in that hidden energetic center, which can be touched with simple gesture but acts like a switch. Ancient Egyptian doctrines describe this as one of the seals of vibrational rest, an energetic transition point activating the internal state known as Mat, supreme balance. Dynamic balance between opposing forces, tension and relaxation, action and surrender, presence and emptiness. When this seal activates, something changes silently. The body stops protecting and begins restoring. Energy previously used to watch, resist, defend redirects to healing. This happens effortlessly. The touch doesn't force healing. The body recognizes the gesture as permission. This point carries gigantic potential for vibrational reorganization, triggering a forgotten code, an internal command interrupting stress cycles and releasing natural self-healing flow. This code doesn't need medication. It needs intention, presence, awareness. Mystery schools used this knowledge in initiations where silence was absolute. The touch behind the ear marked the moment when the initiate left reactive mind and entered spirit space. There they no longer needed to understand. They just needed to feel. That feeling led the whole body into vibrational stillness lasting hours. You can experience this state by touching this point with reverence. When the body realizes it's safe, it doesn't just rest. It opens, releases, trusts again. The invisible process begins. This area has been called the ear of the soul by different traditions because that's where the soul listens when the body begins trusting again. This isn't poetry. This is exact fusion between neurobiology and energy field. Where skin is thin and nerve endings sensitive, touch acts as key. It doesn't just activate physiological circuits. It awakens a feeling no medicine can imitate, being supported from within. Ancient Egyptian regeneration rituals required this gesture before entering deepest meditation states. Initiates used the touch as vibrational signal to silence the external world and open the inner channel. They called this the transition point between noise and heart, direct access to the vibrational state needed to enter the halls of Amenti. By touching there, initiates told the spirit it was safe to return. When the soul feels the body is at war, it retreats, doesn't express itself, protects itself. When it protects itself, everything slows. Creativity, healing, joy. When the body lets its guard down, the soul descends. In that descent, the field reorganizes from inside out. This reorganization can't be explained with logic. You witness it with the body. Breathing becomes deeper without effort. The gaze softens. The heartbeat syncs with environment. The whole body begins operating at a different rhythm. Trust, integration, presence. All this begins with simple recognition that fighting is no longer necessary. The touch tells the nervous system the threat has passed even if the world outside remains unchanged. What changes isn't the environment. It's the internal state perceiving that environment. When that state changes, the body enters spontaneous healing mode because the system knows what to do. It always did. It just needed permission. This touch delivers vibrational authorization for the body to stop defending and start restoring. That gentleness is the greatest strength because it reorganizes everything without breaking anything. 2 fingers, aligned breath, total presence. When these 3 forces meet, what happens goes beyond physiology. The energy field moves. The nervous system begins reorganizing. This isn't technical. It's a silent ceremony between body and spirit. We're almost at the most powerful part, and if this is shifting how you understand your body's healing capacity, I'd really appreciate your subscription. Please help us reach more people with these forgotten practices. Means everything. Alright, back to the practice itself. Every conscious breath sends a signal to the system, an ancient reminder that says you can trust. This phrase vibrating in the field has real effect on neural connections. Each fiber, each cell, each electrical impulse starts tuning to a new frequency. Permission, surrender, presence. A forgotten memory reactivates, not belonging to rational mind but to soul embodied in body. Ancient alchemists called this the memory of the ether, a code imprinted in subtle body layers before language or thought. This code can only be accessed in specific consciousness states. One of the most direct paths is rhythmic touch on the mastoid area synchronized with breath. This point connected to the vagus nerve acts as transmitter between biological and subtle planes. When done regularly with intention, it dissolves what alchemists called mental lead, psychic density accumulated from traumas, beliefs, fears, chronic tensions. The lead preventing consciousness's gold from shining, making mind heavy, anxious, reactive. By dissolving this vibrational lead, the body enters new alchemy, transmutation from survival state to regeneration state. This doesn't happen in a hurry. It's about entering new internal rhythm, a pulse from within that can only be heard when everything around falls silent. In that living silence, every touch gains power because it's no longer just external movement. It's vibrational invitation for consciousness to return to body's temple. With each repetition, the gesture stops being just physical act and begins being recognized by nervous system as familiar language. The body says, "I know this. I've been here before." In that recognition, deep tension layers melt. Muscles release. Heart rate stabilizes. Internal flow opens. The alchemy begins. This is done with what you already have. No medication, no external stimuli. Just presence, gesture, and breath. Three elements that when combined at the right point open a vibrational rift, a passage crossing matter's dense systems and touching being's most subtle plane. In this rift, the impossible becomes accessible. This touch retrieves what ancients called primary safety, the original vibrational state of being before fragmentation, before fall, before fear. A return to a home with no walls but has frequency. When that frequency touches skin and penetrates nervous system, something sacred happens. The body stops fighting itself. Heartbeat slows. Anxiety quiets without negotiation. The mental field accustomed to survival begins to allow. In that allowing, the soul breathes. Thoth spoke of what we now know as DNA as light in serpent form, a serpent sleeping in spirals, waiting for right vibration to awaken. That awakening doesn't happen with shouting, shock, or force. It happens with tenderness. The vibrational tenderness of this gesture activates the forgotten code within each cell. A code accessed through surrender. When activated, dormant parts of your being awaken as remembrance. Each cell starts remembering what it's like to live in peace. The body finally understands its home. This state begins impacting the visible. Symptoms cease. Inflammations dissolve. Deep sleep returns. Digestion balances. Vitality emerges. Not because you made effort, but because you touched a point and delivered your vibration with intention. The practice stops being isolated action and takes shape as ritual. It's no longer just about healing. It's about reconnecting with life's vibrational origin. When practiced at night before sleeping, something special happens. The body has learned this is safe. Now it learns this is sacred. The moment between the last thought of day and first glimpse of sleep is most fertile for the invisible. Ancients called this the liquid hour. When time slows, mind loosens, portals align. The gesture becomes ceremonial key, no longer just touch but silent invocation, vibrational declaration to the universe. I am ready to cross. The body responds. The soul listens. The field opens. Hermetic traditions prepared this moment with reverence. The touch behind the ear combined with slow breathing sealed the soul's intention. Egyptians called this the sign of the cause release, vibrational release allowing the soul to journey spiritually with clarity without interference from fear, guilt, or the day's noise. The body shifted from shell to temple, from structure to instrument. When you touch this point with presence, you're not just preparing for sleep. You're communicating to the universe that you're ready to access the invisible with awareness. After a few nights, this frequency starts working even before the gesture happens. The nervous system, now familiar with deep relief, begins anticipating relaxation. The body starts fully trusting through vibrational repetition. The mind naturally surrenders to stillness. That surrender is true fertile ground for healing. You no longer need to induce sleep. It arrives because the body learned the way back to true rest. Everything begins self-regulating, as if following a forgotten code restored effortlessly through presence. Thoth called this the attunement of the living temple. The body is like a divine harp. Adjust a single string and the entire melody changes. The point behind the ear is one of those strings. When touched with truth, it tunes the whole field through vibration aligned with origin. Self-healing is no longer possibility. It becomes the body's natural condition. The gesture becomes frequency. The frequency sustains balance even on difficult days, even when everything outside feels chaotic. Inside, something remains at peace.